perfect.
Oh, you were helping Cortex Cat.
You are helping. My name sounds like a fetus. So do you think this whole plot works because Crash is stupid?
Yeah.
Would you say that this game has any faults that we've encountered so far?
Yeah, the ice physics.
Oh, yeah, right.
And the ice physics and the jetpack levels don't control super well.
Jetpack levels?
Yeah, there's jetpack levels later. And there are levels where, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but who cares, fucking Crash Bandicoot. There are levels in like the last world where...
It's going on way too long.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut
My turn.
You're going.
There are levels where the stage is completely dark, and you have to grab fireflies that have time limits on them to navigate the level. And it's fine when you're just playing through it, but when you're trying to get 100%, it's really, really frustrating. Because they expect you to just go through some of the level without a light. I didn't spin. I didn't mean to spin.
I know what you're talking about. There were a couple levels in Wrath of Cortex that were like that had a little bug follow you.
I'd say it's worse in Crash 1 because Aku acted as your light, so if you got hit, that was just it. You lost your light and you were blind.
I remember those annoying levels. Back on the topic of fun games, you're saying?
Yeah,
Because to me, I don't know anything about game design, but as someone who purely plays video games for entertainment, if you're making a game and it's not fun, I'm not going to like it, and I'm not going to keep playing. I play games to have fun.
Yeah.
I know that some games, it's a story, but you can have games that are good at story and also be a fun game.
I'd say that too. I am one of those people that like I understand when if it's a design choice, then
like if you're purposely designing your game to not be fun.
Yeah, like first example that comes to mind, Lisa the Painful. That is probably the epitome of like, okay, this game is not fun by design. It's that game is not fun by design. That's the point. Is that it's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be stressful. It's supposed to be make you feel bad.
Or like Spec Ops: The Line.
Yes. I'd say that, but to maybe a lesser degree.
Are you gonna have to backtrack to get anything you missed?
Only if I want the gem. Oh, I went the wrong way. Fuck, yeah, we're gonna have to backtrack. You're supposed to go the left path for the crystal. Also, fuck, this control scheme is weird because I've been playing it differently when I've been playing lately. Because I didn't switch it to the right. Like the right way. Where, like A is jump and X is spin and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm messing up a lot. Yeah, we gotta go back. Can't jump over that, okay. This part
Crash, we've got to go back.
I died. This part also sucks because the backtracking in this game also sucks because there are parts where I'd say most of the design flaws come from when you want to get 100%. Like if you just play through the levels and you don't get any of the the gems, and you just play through it, it's fine. It's mostly fine. But if you want to get 100%, that's where a lot of the design faults starts coming in, like the backtracking, the fun in the dark stages. And later, there's a gem where...
How did that not hit you? That was weird.
There's a gem where you have to... You have to have all the colored gems in order to get it.
Yeah?
Like, it's impossible to get it without them.
Hmm.
Which is like, at that point, if you're getting the gem on that... But it's like one of the last levels of the game, so if you're getting the gem at that point, then you're probably going for 100%. You should have all the colored gems already. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I would call this. This game is very good, though.
On the topic of getting 100%, I miss when getting 100% in a game gave you something.
I mean, it doesn't give me anything in this game.
Doesn't give you anything?
Nope.
Like
you get another cutscene, but other than that, that's it. Like you don't get to play as like Coco or anything.
You know, whenever I play a game and there's like a chance to get 100%, I fully expect there to be some sort of reward every time. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because Nintendo spoiled me, because they typically have 100% rewards. But, you know, if I want to get something, I want to unlock another character, or I want an alternate costume, or I want a different picture in the credits, you know? I want something for going through my troubles. Like, what is the reward for getting 100% in Breath of the Wild? Nothing?
Probably. You get all the you get all the memories.
No, I meant going for all the stupid Korok seeds.
Oh, the Korok seeds?
Yeah.
I forget. I know you do get something though.
Mm.
You like if you see that?
What?
How the bottom of the box isn't real.
The bottom of the box isn't real.
How you
What
can
do
see
mean?
the crash head right there.
Oh yeah, interesting. That's neat. Not real.
I like PS1. I feel like honestly, I don't know how accurate this is to say, but I feel like the PS1 is overlooked in terms of this generation because it was the least powerful. Because you had the N64. Because whenever you think about
64 bits.
You think about the N64, you think about the PS1, you think about like the Dreamcast, because nobody cares about the Saturn.
Yeah.
Because like obviously the PS1 is overshadowed by the PS2, which is one of the best consoles ever and the best-selling console of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's obviously overshadowed. But I think there's good games here.
Well, yeah. Everyone always says, "Oh, PS1." PS1 had amazing games.
It's also that a lot of them weren't super great because this is a super experimental
Console.
Yeah, because it's 32 bits. Yeah, we missed a couple. Yeah, we didn't do the backtracking, so we didn't get all the boxes.
Boxes.
But everyone likes Spyro, but I've never actually played any of those games.
Neither have I.
Maybe we'll do it sometime, but I'm more familiar with Crash.
Now, I remember when the thank you. I remember when the Insane Trilogy came out. You were happy about it.
Yeah,
Did you really like it?
The Insane Trilogy?
Yeah.
It was good. I feel like
I'll do this level.
I feel like aesthetically it all looks pretty good. Everyone was complaining that the hitboxes were different, but that's because they had to change all the models. And of course, the problem with remaking games from
Oh, is this one of the levels where you have to run?
Yeah, you run from the boulder.
You were saying remaking games?
I think remaking games from SNES onward is extremely difficult, especially 3D games like this, is because they have an engine, and obviously in modern times you can't just reuse that engine. So you'll either have to use an existing one, or you just have to you'll just have to basically
remake it from scratch.
Yeah, make the game from scratch, which is
ouch.
Usually too much effort.
Now, how do you feel about? Hard to commentate. How do you feel about remaking games that are 16-bit and then remaking them into 3D? Because personally, I'm against that, and I think they always look ugly.
I can't think of a good example, but I don't know.
Metroid Samus Returns. I do not think that game looks very good.
Metroid Samus Returns? I don't even know what that is.
That's the remake of Metroid 2 on the 3DS.
Oh, they did.
The one that nobody bought.
But then wasn't that a Game Boy game?
That was a Game Boy game, yes.
You think it looks worse than or you think it's a worse? Well, I disagree because Metroid Zero Mission's good.
That was on GBA.
Yeah, but still, well, I guess it's not 3D then. So you're especially talking 3D remakes of 2D games.
Yes. Like originally, I was against the 3D remake of Link's Awakening until I didn't realize that was a platform. Until I guess I played it with you, I should say.
That kills you. It's a metal box.
Until I played it with you, I didn't think that game looked very good, but now I appreciate the art style. But I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I'd say it doesn't look good when you just try to do a 1-to-1. When you just try to be like, okay, here's what it looks like in 3D, like the art style, like you got to do something interesting with it.
Like, say you take a 2D game, like, say you take a game that was released on Super Nintendo or PS1, it was 2D, it was sprite-based. Huh?
You're not gonna play the game.
It was sorry, I know you like this game. It was 2D, it was sprite-based, and it looks good, it's a great game, everyone says that this is one of the best-looking 2D games ever, and then you go and remake the game in 3D, and it loses all of its charm, and it doesn't look nearly as good anymore.
Was that Street Fighter? I thought you just clipped through the wall.
Yeah, same here.
Was that Street Fighter re-release? Was that just a re-release, or did they remake it?
Which one?
Street Fighter 2 on Switch.
I think they just re-released it. I don't think they completely remade it.
I doubt they would.
Okay, I gotta jump and then hit it. I can't do it in the same action. Yeah, I've always told you if they're gonna remake games, they should make them in 32-bit. That would be like if they took A Link to the Past and said, okay, we're gonna remake this game in 3D, and then it looks bad. Because I know I'm very biased because mother of mercy.
Just jump on it. Don't spin.
I feel like an idiot. Okay, they're right there, and he's right there. Ah, yeah. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? Or should I say, Wumpas? Rog don't care. Ah. A soul for a soul. Now I gotta do that again. Dang. 1, 2. I'm gonna be right there. He's gonna be right there.
Well, it's because also,
Got him.
like you said, you're very biased towards like
Super
Nintendo graphics and everything. I'm very biased towards 2D over 3D in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's only like we're only like now after CG's after like
Come on.
3D animation's been around for like what 20 years more at this like 25 years at this point.
Essentially, yeah.
That only now we're starting to get to the point where like okay, 3D can actually start to rival 2D now.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think we're finally getting to that point. But it took like 25 years, which I think is ridiculous. But, like I think so now it's like 3D games can have like an art style. Like,
as opposed to just looking realistic.
Yeah, like obviously there's stylized 3D has always existed, but like now it's finally like to the point where like okay, stylized 3D is looking like as good as stylized 2D.
Because I remember when that. What was the movie? Was it Captain Underpants? How did that hit me?
Yeah, you span into it.
That Captain Underpants movie that came out last year or 2018?
That was like 2017, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It might have been 2018.
Anyway, I remember when that movie came out, you were happy because that looked really good, and it does. It looks very stylized.
It's also I just really like Captain Underpants in general. But yeah, there's that. Klaus looks really good, but Klaus is 2D. That's not 3D anyways. Spider-Verse.
Klaus is 2D?
Yeah, that's why Klaus is 2D.
Wow, impressive.
Also, Spider-Verse looks really good. The new Scooby movie looks pretty good.
Okay, I know I got all the boxes. Yeah,
that Lupin the Third movie they showed off looks really fucking good.
Oh, totally.
That's why it's like
my buddy Chris was like going wild over that.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. Like you know how I know it looks really good, and everyone knows it because that's a Hayao Miyazaki movie. He's the guy who did Ghibli. It's not a Ghibli movie, but he did direct it.
Hayao Miyazaki made
Hayao Miyazaki made Lupin the Third. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Let's say.
I guess it always kind of looked like his art style, but I guess I never put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. It's not Ghibli, but these are my other save files.
Hey-ya! What should we call this?
Let's call it
Kugop. I thought you were gonna call it Koo Kong.
Kubo and the 2 strings.
Was that movie any good? I don't remember hearing anything about that movie.
It looked really good. It looked really good, and it was okay.
You gotta do.
Okay, let's do
Hang
we were talking about looking like okay. The reason more people like I know it looks really good is that trailer dropped, and nobody is like calling hearsay or like blasphemy on it.
That movie looks like 2D became real.
Yeah, it looks really fucking good.
Because Lupin the Third always had a very appealing art style.
Yeah.
I don't think Lupin the Third ever looked bad.
Okay, I take it back. Okay, I said earlier that 3D is finally getting to the point where it can have an art style. That's deliberately like unfair.
What the heck? Why is there a timer now?
It's for getting there's 2 gems on this, and that one's for getting a gem. We're not doing it though because of boxes. Okay. That was like deliberately just wrong. But what I mean is that 3D can finally have like replicate a 2D art style.
All right, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and like it can look as stylistically good. It can look as good as style 2D is what I'm trying to say essentially.
So I have always been in favor of 2D animation.
I think most people have.
Whether it be sprites or just hand-drawn animation, stuff like that. Because I will always think sprites and 2D looks better. Especially
you can do more with it.
Yes, you can. I think I had this discussion when I finally got you to play Mother 3 for the first time. I was bringing up how I'm glad Mother 64 didn't happen, but I would have still... Like, if I could have both Mother 3 and Mother 64, I would like that, because I would see how different it would be.
Yeah, but I would never trade Mother 3 for Mother 64.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would.
Not in a million billion years. We don't have the blue gem, can't do this.
But, the reason I... Oh, shoot. Why didn't you help me? What do you think Crash sounds like? Like that?
Yeah. Also, I don't have my mask anymore.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Do you have to do the bonus stage again?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Maybe, let's check.
Anyway. Mother 64, in case you don't know, is Mother 3, but on the Nintendo 64. Because
Proto Mother 60. Mother 3.
Mother 3 went through hell development. Like, people like to exaggerate games being stuck in development hell, but this game almost got canceled 4 different times. But, finally, it was released for the Game Boy Advance. Everyone likes it. It's one of the best games ever made. But looking at the trailer, I preferred how Mother 3 looks because I realized you can do so much more with sprites than you ever can with 3D models.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of the emotion in Mother 3 would be lost if it was still on the Nintendo 64 or if it was a 3D game. Because say you have a scene where 2 characters have to hold hands. With sprites, they just hold hands because they're drawn to hold hands. It's their sprite. You can't change that at all. But with models, if you were to look at it, you could they're holding hands, you could see the hands they're clipping through each other, or they're not actually touching hands. It just looks like they are.
Especially on the N64.
Especially on the N64. So you can do more with sprites than you ever can with. Is that Professor Roo?
It's Ripper Roo.
Yeah, but he went to college.
He's a...
So sprites will always look better than 3D because you can do more and you can make them look better.
I was gonna say, probably the best example of being able to of you doing stuff with 2D that you'd never be able to do in 3D is probably the best example. It's probably the new Aladdin movie. It's like there's no way they'd be able to do as much with the genie in 3D as they did in 2D.
Well, you don't like Blue Will Smith?
I think it's fine, but it's like he wouldn't be able to turn into
Al Capone.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to turn into Al Capone. He wouldn't be able to become you know how in the Prince Ali scene he becomes 3 different characters.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't be able to do that and have him still be recognizable as a genie unless you CG child Will Smith. But I feel like we're already past that. But I don't know. I've always just seen. We're only now getting to the point where 3D is no longer inferior to 2D, but they can actually exist as equals. Some people will argue that has never existed, but some people will argue that 3D will always be inferior to 2D. I don't know. The technology has still been evolving, and I don't even think we're at the peak yet.
It's getting better. The technology is advancing when it now costs more to hand draw animation than 3D it.
Yeah. Which is well, it's also I don't know how fair it is to say that 2D is more effort than 3D.
Because you greatly enjoy The Simpsons.
Yes.
You remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes 3D?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Wow, I feel like I'm wasting $17,000 just by standing here."
Yeah.
Well, I looked in the comments of that video on YouTube, I saw that clip on YouTube, and I saw a comment. It was like even though that scene was done in 2001 or something like that. What the hell?